Now, welcome back. Now, in this video, you're going to be looking at multiplying matrices. All right, so that's what we're going to need to do. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of ways of doing that. The first way is by hand, and then the second one I'm going to show you how to use your graphics calculator to do that. All right, now this is probably the most important part of matrices. So we don't spend much time doing the adding and all that sort of stuff. We spend most of our time multiplying matrices, and there's many applications for where we would do that. So let's start with something quite simple. All right, so let's say we've got a row matrix here, which is 1, 2, 3. Pretty ingenious. Like, how did I think of a matrix like that? Let's do a matrix here, which has got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. All right, so you can see a bit of a pattern there. Now, the first thing I need to do is look at defining these matrices. So this matrix here has one row and has 3 columns. All right, so that's what we've got there. This matrix here has 3 rows and it has 2 columns. Now, for me to be able to multiply these two matrices together, the key thing is this number here in the middle here has to be the same. If that number's not the same, then I can't multiply those two matrices. I just say they're not compatible and I can't multiply them. Because they are, that means that I can actually multiply those two matrices. The other thing is, when I start looking at what I'm expecting for this particular case to get a 1 by 2 matrix result. All right, that's what I'm expecting. Now, technically what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be coming along with this. I'm going to times that whole row by this whole column. That's how you multiply matrices. All right, so we're going to do it step by step. So the first thing here is, I know it's going to be a 1 by 2 matrix. What I do is I do 3 calculations here. And so I'll do it the really long way, but you don't have to do it this way. You don't have to show the working out. So I'm going to go 1 times by 2. All right, that's the first term in each of these things here. The next term is 2 times by 6. And because they're both positive, I'm going to add that. 2 times by 6. And the next one is going to be 3 times by 10. Now, I'm happy for you to not write that step and for you to do this. That's going to be 2 plus 12 plus 30. And then what we do is we go to our add all those numbers together. So that's going to be 14 and 44. So that's the first value in our matrix. And we define that matrix as row number 1, column number 1. So that's position 1, 1 in our matrix. The next one is we're going to be doing that via our second column. All right, so this will be our second column that we're doing. I'll make that orange here, that's okay. Right, so we will be doing it by that column there. So I'll be doing row number 1 times by column number 2 will give position 1, 2. All right, so let's do that. So it's 1 times by 4. Remember, you don't have to write the step. Plus 2 times by 8. Plus 3 times by 12. So then I'll be going, that's 4 plus 16 plus 36. So it's 20 plus 36 is going to be 56. And again, my matrix is a 1 by 2 matrix. We position this one here, quite often you'll see that written as 1, 1. This position here is 1, 2, which means row number 1, column number 1, row number 1, column number 2. All right, so it's interesting. Now let's see how you actually have to do that. So the next thing is I want to show you how to do that on your calculator. All right, so if you come to your calculator, I'll just quit out of there so you can see nothing. All right, there's a matrix button over here somewhere. Okay, you see it's over here. So you go second function, matrix. That brings up your matrices. I'm going to have to edit a matrix to go across, and let's do the first matrix. All right, so I define what that's going to be. So that's going to be a 1 by 3 matrix. Enter. And then I can just type the numbers in. 1, 2, 3. It's pretty simple. Once you get the idea of it, it's really easy. I go second function matricing, right? Go across to edit, come down to number 2. I'm going to edit B, and I'm going to make that a 3 by 2 matrix, which it already is. So remember what we had? We had 2. What would we have in there? I've got a bad memory at present. 2, 4, 6, 8. All right. So come back to our thing. So 2, 4, and you just type them in. You don't have to think about 6, enter, 8, enter, 10, enter. I don't know if you can hear it raining outside. It's not a very nice day out there. All right. I'm going to quit out of there. All right. So now I'm going to times these 2 matrices together. Now, the first thing I'm going to show you, if I came down here and did B times by, press the matrices button again, A, enter, says I can't do it. Dimensions don't match. All right, so I'm going to press number 1 to quit that. If I do it the right way, matrix C, A times by matrix C, B, which is number 2, and go enter, I get the same answer I just worked out there. All right, so that's my matrix C multiplication. Let's make the next one harder. Well, it's not any harder, but all it is, it's just longer. All right, so let's do 5, 0, negative 1, 3, 2, 7, and then we can times that by another matrix. Now, if I've got that there, this matrix here is in fact how did we define that? Well, it's got 2 rows and it's got 3 columns. Remember, we're using square brackets for matrices. So if I want to times that by something else, then I need to make that a 3 by something. All right, so let's do 3 by 2, and that will give us a 2 by 2 is our answer. All right, so let's do 1, 0, 0, 4, 2, 3. All right, I'm just making these up. So, and again, this matrix here is a 3 by 2 matrix. Oh, don't know what I did there, just press the wrong button. Ugh. Bet I'll do an undo. Alright, come down here, 3 by 2, and then what we've got here is a, now I'd have to do the check, and I suggest that you circle it like this. Yeah, you can make, it's not bad setting out to do that, just to circle it, and then I know I'm expecting to get a 2 by 2 matrix as my answer. Alright, now remember what we're doing. We're going first column, first row with first column, and then we do second column, and then we do second row, and we do that with the columns coming down as well. All right, so that will give us our second row things. So let's do it. All right, now I'm going to skip that first step from before. Remember that first step I said you didn't have to do, which is write it out. Okay, let's go to just doing the answers. All right, 5 times by 1. The first term in each of these things is going to give me 5. 0 times by 0 is going to give me 0. And then I've got negative 1 times by 0 is going to be 0. So that's going to be 5, that first answer. Now, sometimes what I do is I actually like to do this as I'm going. And that way I'm treating it step by step. The next thing is I'm going to have 5 times by 4. Row number 1, column number 2 is going to give me position 1, 2. So that's going to be 5 times 4 is 20. Over here. 20. 0 times by 2 is 0. And then I've got to have negative 1 times by 3, which is negative 3. So that answer there is going to give me an answer of 20 take 3, which is 17. All right. So that's row 1 gives me position 1, 1 and 1, 2. All right, that's what those 2 positions are in my matrix C. When I go to row 2, I do the same things. Actually, I need to delete that because you can't write the next bit. All right, so row 2 gives me my positions 2, 1 and 2, 2. So 3 times by 1 is going to give me 3. I'm going to just write 3. The thing is, these two things here, no matter what they get times to, are going to give me 0. So let's just save some time. That's why I'm talking about zeros being really good in a matrix, because I know 2 times by 0 is 0, 7 times 0 is 0. So it's really just the first term times by that. I'll show you something very interesting in a second. All right, 3 times by 4 is going to give me 12. 2 times by 2 is going to give me 4. And 7 times 3 is going to give me 21. So that's going to be 26, 47 is my answer there. All right, you got the idea in terms of what we're doing there? All right, and I could check that out on my calculator if I really wanted to, but I'm not going to. All right, if you need some more help doing your calculation stuff on your on the calculator, we can do that in class. All right, let's do another one. There's a thing called an identity matrix. Identity matrix could be this. It could be 1, 1, 0, 0. It could be 1, 0, 0. 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1. God, I sound a bit like a robot. This is called an identity matrix. So let's just do the first one. If I do I times by A, then let's make an A up. So let's go 1, 0, 0, 1, and we'll make a 2 by 2 matrix. Let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. Got a great imagination here. All right, let's do the matrixing multiplication. I know the 2 by 2 is 2 by 2, so I can actually multiply these. So the first thing is I go 1 times by 1 is going to give me 1. All right, 0 times 3 is going to give me 0, so that's going to give me 1. This is when you get really good at this. You don't have to write it down. You just get straight to the answer. 1 times by 2 is going to give me 2. 0 times 4 is going to give me 0. So that's going to be 2. Now I go to my second row. 0 times by 1 is going to give me 0. 1 times by 3 is going to give me 3. And then 0 times by 2 is going to give me 0. 1 times by 4 is going to give me 0. Oh, what did we get here? Okay. I times by A, this gives me A. That's just equal to A. All right. The identity matrix, we can do the same thing over here. And I'm going to do this. Let's make this a little bit different. All right. I'm going to use my imagination here. And I'm going to do this quick. All right. Guess what I'm going to do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, wow. Okay, let's do the same thing again. It's no harder, it's just a bit bigger. So 1 times by 1 is going to give me 1. I don't have to worry about these zeros. These zeros, they sort of mean I'm only looking at that term there. Okay, so it's really, if I undo that, the key thing here with this whole matrix thing is the diagonals, diagonal ones. All right, so it's really going to be that thing I'm going to get here. All right, so then I'm going to go, for my next thing, I'm going to go 0, so 1 times by 2, and the rest is 0, so that's going to be 2, and I'm going to go 3 times by 1, that's 3. All right, now, anything times by 0 in the top row is going to be 0. Anything times by 0 in the bottom row is going to be 0. So the next row is just going to be 4, 5, 6. The last row, row 3, I've got the bottom two, the first two terms are going to give me 0 and 0. It's only the bottom term is going to give me a number, and that's going to be 7, 8, 9. So the rule here is if I times by the identity matrix, I times by A is the same as if I do A times by I, and that's going to give me simply A. All right, so that's a little bit of theory that I wasn't planning to go through today, but makes sense in terms of when we're looking at matrix C multiplication. All right, let's practice that. Let's make sure we can do it by hand, and then make sure that we can do this on our calculators.